Okay, this next post I'm calling The Plot. I think at this point I'm figuring out what's going on, what they're trying to do. But I wanted to share how I also came to this conclusion. In 2023, after I stood up in court and asked to represent myself in my court case, and then filed the other two cases that my attorneys wouldn't file, the first thing I did was subpoena all the bank records that I'd been asking my attorneys, begging them to do. So I subpoenaed all the bank records that I knew would expose this. But then I also subpoenaed the depositions for all of my previous attorneys. I wanted to preface by saying before 2023, I had never even been inside a courtroom. I have no legal experience whatsoever. And here I was just knocking out subpoenas, and I probably, I can't even tell you how many bank subpoenas I submitted between all three cases. And yeah, no legal experience, but I did it anyway. And God guided me through all of it. So I'm grateful for that. But I did the subpoena, the depositions from my previous attorneys, as I shared before, because I knew that they were being silenced by the national security letters. But I also knew that they couldn't lie in court. And when I filed those subpoenas to depose them, all holy hell broke out. All three attorneys hired their own attorney. And there was at one point where, and they all filed motions to quash the deposition. And there was motions to quash the bank subpoenas. They were just trying to quash everything. It was like, holy shit, she's got power. We got to shut her down. Quash it. And I had, at one point at the one hearing, I couldn't even tell you how many attorneys were in the room. There was all these, probably at least 8 attorneys on one side, because you had the attorneys that my three previous attorneys hired. You had Mike's attorneys. There was like 8 attorneys on one side and me on the other side. I wish I could have taken a photo. It probably was pretty funny. And that day, I remember one of the attorneys from Dana McKittrick. We were all like introducing each other, shaking hands, and he wouldn't shake my hand. And he just kind of glared at me and he was like, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Because I'm not the one with anything to hide." And that is the truth. Like, I am the one innocent person in all of this. I really didn't know that all of this was happening. Even though I was the bookkeeper, they managed to hide it from me really well, or at least fool me enough that I wouldn't know. And it was my husband. Why wouldn't I trust him? But when all of this started happening after the TikTok posts in 2024, I was like, okay, this makes sense. They have no dirt on me. And so they needed to concoct a scheme to get me dirty.